U.S. officials warn that the most significant airstrikes on Iran may still be to come. President Trump posted on social media that Iran wants to negotiate, but now says that it's too late. On Capitol Hill, there is bipartisan division over the administration's actions. Natalie Brand has more details from the White House.
Fresh explosions rocked Tehran with hundreds of fighter jets in the skies over Iran's capital city, as the U.S. and Israel warned the heaviest strikes are yet to come.
The next phase will be even more punishing on Iran than it is right now.
President Trump, in a social media post Tuesday morning, said Iran's air defense, Air Force, Navy, and leadership is gone. They want to talk. I said too late.
The objectives of this operation are to destroy their ballistic missile capability and make sure they can't rebuild it, and make sure that they can't hide behind that to have a nuclear program.
The Trump administration, in its War Powers Resolution notification to Congress, said despite its repeated efforts to achieve a diplomatic solution, the threat to the U.S., allies, and partners became untenable.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio argued there was an imminent threat because the U.S. knew there was going to be Israeli action that would trigger retaliation by Iran.
We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces. And we knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them before they launched those attacks, we would suffer higher casualties and perhaps even higher those killed. And then we would all be here answering questions about why we knew that and didn't act.
Secretary Rubio returns to Capitol Hill today to brief all members of Congress, a day after meeting with the Gang of Eight, who emerged from the briefing divided.
This was a defensive measure, a defensive operation.
There was no imminent threat to the United States of America.
Democrats plan to force a War Powers Resolution vote this week to try and limit further military action, but most Republicans have expressed support for the administration's actions in Iran. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Here at home, lawmakers across Arkansas are voicing their opinions on the U.S. strikes in Iran. Chris Jones, Democratic candidate for the U.S. House and spouse of a combat veteran, says leaders must act responsibly to keep service members protected.
We need to make certain that we are doing everything we can to protect the lives of our troops that are in harm's way and the families that are back here at home.
Today, the Arkansas House and Senate are scheduled to get an all-members briefing on Iran. And voters across Arkansas are heading to the polls today for the primary and judicial general election. Today's ballot includes party primaries, judicial races, and school elections, including school board seats and school millage questions that could impact local taxes. Voters can choose a Democratic, Republican, or nonpartisan ballot. The Republican Party is holding a closed primary this year, while the Democratic primary remains open. Election officials remind voters to bring a valid photo ID as they head to the polls. Voters we talked to say casting a ballot is about more than just the candidates.
Well, I think one of the greatest things our founding fathers did was give us the First Amendment and the freedom to speak, the freedom to express ourselves. And one of the best ways to do that in our day and age is to get out and vote and let our voices be heard.
In party primary races, candidates who do not win outright could advance to a runoff later this month. Nonpartisan judicial and school races could also require a runoff, which would happen in November. Polls are open until 7:30 tonight. You can find polling locations near you on our website, 5newsonline.com. And here's a look at some of those key races that are happening today. State Senate District 26 voters will decide the replacement for the late Gary Stubblefield. Republican Brad Simon and Independent Adam Watson are the candidates. Fayetteville voters will decide a more than $300 million bond proposal, and Democratic voters will decide their party's challenger to go up against Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders. And both parties will decide their candidates in the U.S. Senate race. Plus, multiple counties will weigh in on who the next judge and sheriff will be. To get a full look at all the races in your area, just text VOTE to 785-5000 and we'll send you back a link to the full election guide. We'll also have special coverage throughout the election night right here and throughout the day tomorrow on 5 News Plus, where we'll follow elections across our area on the District 26 race, local school mills, bond increases, and more. You can download it for free and watch on your smart TV devices. The Washington County Quorum Court has postponed a proposal to join a regional economic development group. The plan would have created the Northwest Arkansas Regional Industrial and Technology Development Authority to help attract major manufacturing and technology jobs. The authority, allowed under Arkansas Act 576, would allow counties to work together to prepare large, shovel-ready industrial sites for advanced manufacturing and technology companies. Supporters, including the Northwest Arkansas Council, say the region is missing opportunities for high-paying production jobs, which are needed.
We're not building real estate that will allow us to compete for that. And so they're going to places like Dallas and other places. But we have a population here that needs those kind of jobs.
Some Washington County leaders pushed back, saying the authority would have too much power and could make decisions outside local control. The Quorum Court ultimately voted to postpone the proposal indefinitely. Benton County has already approved creating the authority, while Madison County voted not to join. And in other news, a Fayetteville woman suing Arkansas State Police will get her day in court. It all stems from a police stop almost 2 years ago at a Fayetteville gas station. Peyton Malia was stopped with her 4-year-old son by 4 ASP officers with guns drawn. The officers were looking for a double homicide suspect, and they thought Malia's car matched the suspect's car. ASP eventually let her go, but Malia later sued for an unreasonable search and excessive force. A trial has been set for April of next year, but the sides could reach a settlement before then. You can read more details on 5newsonline.com. An Arkansas federal judge has ordered a change to state procedures regarding parole violations. U.S. District Judge Christine Baker ruled Monday that parts of the parole revocation system in the state are unconstitutional. That's the formal process of sending someone back to prison after they violate parole. In her ruling, the Post-Prison Transfer Board and the Department of Corrections can no longer deny parolees due process. Here's what that means going forward. Under the ruling, the state must hold timely hearings to determine if there is probable cause for alleged parole violations. Those on parole must receive written notice of the allegations against them. And if their parole is revoked, a judge must submit a written letter explaining why. In Fort Smith, city directors will discuss Parrot Island and the consent decree again tonight. The board will vote to push forward a rebidding process for the Parrot Island slides construction. The city was sued and accused of violating bidding rules after it dropped the requirements and awarded the slide contract to one company. The board will also discuss extending the consent decree with the EPA deadline by 11.5 years.